Alright, this is a Q&A audio video post. I'm just taking questions from one of the groups I'm part of in Facebook, and this is uh, this is basically going to be a short and crisp AV video. I've just reduced the window size so that I'm not using a lot of disk space for the video. So that's the reason why we see a very small window as the video capture place. But anyways, let's get on to the questions. So question number one from Saurabh. What does your method consist of? Do you advise futures? Saurabh, my method is basically based on price action. So there are various kind of price action strategies. Al Brooks talk about it, Landsbergs talk about it, and there are floor pivots and people who just use candlestick patterns. There are a lot of price action strategies. I use structural pivots. It is also called as fractals, which is based on chaos theory. So I have a very different way of marking it. The usual pivots, the swing pivots we see in the forum, it's not the same. I just have a very different way of marking it. That's what I teach actually in my workshop. So it's a long answer. Do you advise futures? Yes, futures is not bad as long as you understand the risk involved, because futures instrument is leveraged. That's the basis of the instrument. So you just need to be very careful about the leverage and take care of the risk. If you can do that, then futures is not bad at all. Next question. Digvijay Kandite. Hi Madan, thanks for your efforts you are taking. Okay, my questions and elaboration is quite long. Please pardon me in advance. Okay, no problem. Question number one from Digvijay. What combination of system parameters you feel is better? Expectancy with the lesser RR, higher win percentage, or the same expectancy with lower win percentage and higher RR? And moderate drawdown. Okay, what is your take on these parameters, and what are the ideal parameter limits in your view? Digvijay, your question assumes that the expectancy is going to be the same, so we just need to look at the lesser RR higher win, or lower win and higher RR combination. Basically, I prefer to, because that's how I traded. I have a very low win percentage but higher RR. But of course, I will have more consecutive losses in a row, and my drawdown. I mean, I'm not very good in digesting, big drawdowns. So I would love to have moderate drawdowns. So I prefer one, but there are people who prefer. I mean, I prefer two. There are people who prefer one because they don't like consecutive losses in a row. They can't take more than 5 losses in a row. So those kind of people has to stick with number one. So going to question two, based on your answer on first question, is there any ideal time frame to trade Nifty positional through any of the price action strategy? Anything from 15 minutes to a daily chart is okay. There are actually, I mean, merits and demerits. Of course, smaller time frame will have a lot of trades, but you're also gonna have your drawdown recovered faster, because you're gonna have so many trades to work on. Basically, it's like this: you want to hit 100 runs, and you have 30 balls. So a smaller time frame has that advantage. Basically, the recovery time will be faster. But the higher time frame, lesser number of trades, lesser cost, those are the merits. But you're gonna have you have to bear the time drawdown more, basically, in higher time frames, because the number of trades it might take to come out of the drawdown might be higher, and that will take more time, because you're not going to get many trades in a daily time frame chart, right? So that's the merits, demerits. But I just want to bust a myth here. There's a lot of myth going on that if bigger time frame gives less whipsaws, and lower time frame will give more whipsaws. I mean, I would really disagree with that. Whipsaw is actually a factor of your market and the strategy, the kind of strategy you are deploying in the market, not a factor of time frame. Every time frame has whipsaws. So just a side note on that, right? One thought is there, of course, that it depends upon which time frame suits you, but I want answer without considering. Yeah, that's what I told. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Best settings and indicators for short term, long term, and explanation for the same. Raghunath, actually, I do not know any best settings and indicators because I am actually not into indicators. So yeah, I'm a wrong person to answer this. So let's go to the next question. Vignesh, kindly share some good price action methods if you could. Uh, Vignesh, there are a lot of resources available online actually. You can go through Albrook's or Landsbeck's. I'm not a big fan of both of them actually because it's kind of a little bit confusing and it's kind of discretionary. So I'm not a big fan of them, but those are good start actually. I mean, if you are into candlesticks, then any candlestick book is good. The Nixon, whoever that author is, who has written a lot of candlestick books. So that guy book is also good. Vinay, no, that's not a question actually. Okay. I read your interview. Can you share your insights on finding I probable top and I probable bottom using fractal technique, or from your experience, any insights on combining with any other technique? Selva, it's a good question. A lot of people ask this question, but I do not know how to catch top and bottom in the market. Basically, I am targeting for the middle 40% of the meat. I'm not worried about the first 20 30%, 20 30%, and the last 20 30%. Usually, it's very difficult to catch that. But many people want to buy top and bottom in the. I mean, buy the bottom and sell the top in the market, which is, in my opinion, is a futile attempt. But I think if people can do it, great. But I don't know whether they can do it consistently. So that's the question. So you need to understand that we have to look for the real meat, which is the mid part, not the fag end or not the initial part, right? So that's the answer to the question. Hummer, I'm looking for 3k returns per month on investment of 1 lakh. So that's like what? 36%, okay, on positional trades. I'm using one method which is giving good returns since 2015, wonderful. But when I back tested it with data from 2009 to 14, then it gave negative returns. I'm not understanding why this happens. Amar, uh, from 2015, if I'm not wrong, from late 2015, market is in a low volatility period actually. So I think your system is suited for low volatility periods. 2009 to 14 was actually a little bit volatile, except for 2012. Most of the times it was volatile actually. So I think more volatile periods is not suited for your system. I mean, from the whatever information you are given. So I'm not really sure what your strategy is. I'm not really sure what you do with it. But with the given information, that's all I can presume. But at the same time, you'll have to understand that there are 4 cycles in the market, which is basically volatility, trending, volatile trending, volatile range bound, non-volatile trending, and non-volatile range bound. Most of the systems work in 2 of the 4 markets. Few systems work in 3 of the 4 markets. None of the system I know work in all the 4 markets. So you just have to live with the drawdowns, losses. That is where the risk management come into play. All right. Next question: how to draw long time frame and short term pivot points? Rajesh, that's exactly what I teach in my workshop. So it's a big question. So I'm skipping that. Nilesh Patel: some elaboration on which opening range should be preferred, starting from 5 minute to 1 hour, and how does it affect the profit and loss? Okay, Nilesh, see, the ORB, open range breakout trading, is actually pretty popular. The time frame depends on what kind of time frame you actually use. Some people use 15 minutes chart, they look for 15-minute ORB. Some people use 1 hour ORB, which is also nicely go along with the market profile guys, the initial balance high and the initial balance low. Some people use even the 5 minutes, depending on the time frame they use, right? But I just want to dole out a piece of suggestion here. Do not trade all the ORBs. Let's say if you're going long, at least avoid the ORB trades that are within the range. If the ORB is happening outside a clearly defined demarked range, then it is probably an high probable setup. So please make sure that. Okay. Suresh, hi Madan, what is the best style way of handling trade risk money management? Suresh, there is actually no best style. It's like asking the best indicator for trading. There is actually no best style. A lot of things depend on how your system performs in the back tested data and also the live data. If you have something, like real trades, then you can also use that. There is actually no best style in my opinion. It's just that you need to be so careful about the risk of ruin. So if the risk of ruin is the probability of risk of ruin is more than 10-20 percentage, then you're taking too much risk. So that's what you should be careful about. Number two, everything works in a trending market, even simple MA strategy, but in sideways, being best in a sideways, even best strategy fails. How to get confirmation that market trend is starting? Uh, Suresh, even I don't know that, Suresh. I'm also looking for a strategy which can identify the market trend. I mean, there are some telltale signs when the market gets into sideways. Basically, it might, do not. Let's say market wants to go up, but it's trending. It's going to create a lot of higher highs and higher lows, right? And then if it wants to go down, it's going to create a lot of lower highs and lower lows. But if all these things are getting mixed matched, then we are probably in a ranging market. So I mean, I have heard traders saying that they trade range markets in a different way, trend markets in a different way, but it's pretty difficult for me as a mechanical trader to do that. So I need to really assume, or I need to really predict whether the market is ranging or trending every time. So which is like another factor that's going to affect my psychology. So I don't do that. So I don't know how to actually figure out whether the market is trending or not. So of course in hindsight I can say that, but when my right side of the chart is not seen, it's pretty difficult. uh, Murugan Mehta, when and where to apply price action with the trend or counter trend? When I apply with the trend, my accuracy is high but profit is low. Okay, okay. So you just, okay, Rajan says the question is regarding the importance of entry and exit. Okay, before a pullback, how price action. Okay. Uh, Murugan, I think you're trading both breakout and breakout failure. So that's when all this confusion comes. A price action would probably simplify it to an extent, as there is less noise, because if you put a lot of indicators or oscillators, you're going to get more anxiety in terms of taking the decision. But break, but trading both breakout failure and breakout is like driving a car which has both right hand steering wheel and left hand steering wheel. So it's going to be really difficult to do that. Hope you understand what I'm saying. So, but if you can trade successfully breakout and breakout failure, nothing like it. But you can't have the cake and eat it too, right? So that's where the compromise has to happen. How to use multi-time frame super trend for Nifty future? I am not a super trend person. Divakar super trend is basically 8-year trailing stop. I'm not a super trend guy, so I'm passing this question. Okay, this is in Hindi. Rajendra Sharma. How to decide a trend and how many time frames should be considered for swing trading for 2 to 3 days? How to decide a trend? There are various ways of deciding trend. A lot of people do moving average crossovers. You have the super trend, which is 8-year trailing stop. That is also there, and people use structural pivots like the way I do. A lot of things are basically used to decide the trend. I mean, there is many ways, but the thing is, what time frame suits you. It depends on what kind of person you are. You're a full-time trader, part-time trader. Can you take a lot of losses, consecutive losses? Can you take a big drawdown, small drawdown? I mean, your risk percentage, a lot of things come into play. But if you're looking to swing trade for 2 to 3 days, I think 15 minutes would be okay. How to compare volume with price? Rajendra Sharma. Again, I'm not a volume guy. I don't have volume in my charts, so I really do not know. But there are a lot of people use volume in their charts, and there is this concept called VSA. So people use volume in a very different way there. So you can check it out. Ashish Chakraborty. Fixed fraction or fixed ratio? There you go, money management question. What's the best way to scale up and when to switch from one to another? Ashish, fixed ratio would help you in the initial stages, but actually when you scale up, fixed ratio would help you, but after some point of time, let's say, after you have moved up a lot in the size, fixed ratio and fixed fraction would actually meet at a point where both will look the same, irrespective of whatever kind of methodology you are using, and that after that point on, fixed fraction will make more sense. Fixed ratio will actually reduce your risk adjusted return. So it's basically fixed ratio for some point of time, and then it meets the fixed fraction with respect to risk adjusted return, and then fixed fraction takes over. So initially, I think fixed ratio is good. Dhirendra Singh, best back tested and applied strategy. It is very easy to explain the charts when the right hand side has, yeah, absolutely. How to get the feel about next move with price action. I don't know whether in price action or indicator based trading. I mean, this is a big thing that's going on in trading the markets. People have the urgency and need to predict the markets on where it's going to go. I mean, I understand when you take a long trade, you are actually looking for the market to go up, but you really do not know whether it's going to go up or not. Nobody knows, right? The moment, that is what the Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas books talks about. He says that the need to predict has to stop. The moment we stop that, that is when the real catharsis in trading happens. So let's not worry about what the next move in the market is going to be. Let's just worry about whether we can execute our plan. So what is your plan? It's based on your strategy, what kind of risk you're taking. All those things comprises of your plan. Sankalp, as a price action trader, what setup should I consider? Currently my price action setup for day trade are as follows. Trend, I use moving average on higher time frame. Levels, I use monthly, weekly. Okay, a lot of FIBO levels. Okay, and then inside bar, then breakout doji. Okay, and then confluence. Okay, wow, you go through a lot of decisions to come to a trade. Okay, please help if I'm wrong. No, there is nothing right or wrong, Sankalp. Whatever works. See, there is I really don't understand when people fight in social media. I'm new to Twitter. I'm just 5-6 months old actually in Twitter, but it's so upsetting and sad to see that people claim that their method is the best, other methods are the worst. I mean, I perfectly disagree with that. Completely disagree with that. Because there are thousands of ways to skin a cat. So mine is the best way, yours is worst is actually it's not needed actually. So there is nothing right or wrong in the markets as long as it works for you, right? What are the chances to improve the setup? Hey, Sankalp, your setup is working fine. I mean, as per your question. So why are you rocking a board when everything is going okay? So I heavily depend on FIBO levels, but it's saying pivots levels on. Yeah, I think the pivot levels they talk about in internet is about the floor pivots, which is basically I think they have a pivot line called OHLC or HLC divided by 3. I don't know the formula, and then they have R1, R2, R3 resistances and S1, S2, S3 supports. I think that's what they're talking about. Please help us in recognizing the best book. There are a lot of books actually. Lance Beck's has written a course, if I'm not wrong, and Al Brooks has written a course. And if you want to talk, read about fractal points, then Bill Williams is the guy. And there are actually a lot of online articles available too, so you can go through that. Correct method to integrate monthly, weekly, daily pivot. No, I have no idea about the FIBO levels, so I will not be able to answer. Okay, so that's about it. I think we have covered all the questions. It's September 2nd, 2018, 11:07. So we are just ending this AV and hope it helps. All right. Happy trading. Have a good night.